Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert are going very close in ADP at the moment. Justin Herbert is drafted as the 34th overall player off the boards, while Patrick Mahomes is ranked 29th. Last year, their finishes, so Justin Herbert was the number 2 overall quarterback, and Patrick Mahomes finished as the number 4 overall quarterback. And I got to say, so I was looking at their stats. I was a little bit surprised Patrick Mahomes finished as quarterback for last year because I actually had him last year, and I suffered through a rough stretch in which he had performances of 7.4 points, 14 points, 10 points. Did give a 36-point game, but went back down to 7.5 and 12. It's not what you drafted is the problem.
No.
You don't draft Patrick Mahomes. You don't draft a quarterback that high and hope that you're just going to get 15 points. In fact, the 20-point line, it should just be the baseline minimum. And Justin Herbert did that a little bit more consistently last year. Between these two quarterbacks, which way are you leaning heading into this season?
Justin Herbert finished a little ahead of him last year. I think he's going to do the same thing again this year. They're both great quarterbacks. They're going to be great quarterbacks for a long time. The big difference to me is that Patrick Mahomes has got these new weapons. None of them are great. And Justin Herbert's got the same guys, and they're very good wide receivers. He's got a couple of young receivers behind Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, too. I think they're going to have a much better offense this season, and they've got a better receiving running back, too. So I think Herbert's got the better weapons. I think he's an ascending talent, and I think he's going to have the better fantasy season this year.
You mentioned Austin Ekeler, so the running game, even Herbert's running back lends more into the passing attack than Patrick Mahomes. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, let's just face it, for his draft stock has been a bust. He's been a bust. I think that's a pick that the Chiefs regret, especially knowing that Jonathan Taylor went just a few picks behind him. I am inclined to agree. If we're drafting both these guys in a similar type position, I will agree with you that I think Justin Herbert is a more desirable player at this point for fantasy purposes, mostly because of the turnover too in the wide receiving core. I think that's my biggest knock on Patrick Mahomes. When you lose a Hall of Famer in Tyreek Hill, that's going to affect your offense in a negative way. That's why Aaron Rodgers is also taking a huge nosedive in ADP because he lost Devontae Adams. There's going to be a learning curve, and they might start off slow. And we know that when Patrick Mahomes is slumping, you get those rough performances. We know that Patrick Mahomes could also just drop 40 on anyone's head on any given week, and that's why you're drafting him as high as you are. Although I don't want to draft any of these quarterbacks as high as they are, I think I'm really doubling down hard on the avoiding drafting quarterbacks this high. If I am forced to pick one of the two, I think I'm just going to lean into Herbert this year, especially because I think this could be Herbert's best case to win an MVP. This is where I think the Chargers are going to try and lean into pushing Justin Herbert as one of those next faces in the NFL. Obviously, he's going to have to compete with Josh Allen for that. Whereas I think that the Chiefs are more comfortable in just winning games. They don't really care how they do it. My only thing, too, is I think, too, it also helped Justin Herbert that their defense was as bad as it was last year for the Chargers. I don't know if they're going to be as many shootouts as they were last year. So I kind of wonder, do you have any concerns that might take a hit on his value?
I don't know that that's going to make any big difference. I mean, Herbert's going to get his. He's got that great offense. Yeah, they may run the ball a little bit more, but Eckler's not the type of running back to get a ton of carries. Mm-hmm. We'll see if they try to mix in somebody else with Eckler to try to get somebody else some more carries, but they're a passing team, and he's going to get his.
I'll throw this out there, too. Patrick Mahomes, over the last couple of years, has dealt with a little bit more injuries. I don't know if Justin Herbert's maybe just had more fortunate injury luck, but it's seemingly that he doesn't really put himself in positions to get hurt for whatever that's worth. Patrick Mahomes, we know that he's a guy that likes to improvise, and he improvises well. He improvises better than the majority of guys I've seen play quarterback in the NFL, but sometimes that just leaves you a little bit more open to take a hit. I go back to the hit he took in the Cincinnati game last year when he's just kind of like scrambling around. It is something that you have to put on your radar. And again, if I'm drafting, I'm putting this investment in a quarterback in the third round. I don't even want to have any doubts of my quarterback getting hurt. I just want you to provide a extremely high floor. And I think Herbert's going to do that on a week-to-week basis, slightly better than Patrick Mahomes. I'll throw this because I know that this is going to be a comment. This is not me saying that Patrick Mahomes is a worse quarterback than Justin Herbert. I still believe that the Chiefs are going to win the division. That's my guess as far as how the AFC West is going to shake out. Known commodity. I trust the coaching staff a little bit more. I don't know what to make of Brandon Staley, but for fantasy purposes, I think this is just going to be a breakout year for Justin Herbert relative to the fact he was quarterback 2 last year.
Yeah, I think Justin Herbert, if you're looking at Dynasty, I think you got a real question whether he or Josh Allen is the best quarterback. Just simply because Josh Allen's got a couple of years on Herbert. And as far as Patrick Mahomes goes, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of injury concerns simply because he's always running. Don't forget that he ran 497 yards before getting sacked or throwing the ball in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
You mentioned the interesting case of Josh Allen and Justin Herbert in Dynasty. To answer that question briefly, I would put more faith in the quarterback that has a more stable coaching situation. And I think that is easily Buffalo. I don't know if Brandon Staley is going to be the coach next year. I don't know what Dean Spanos is going to do, hire another first-year head coach, more than likely. So hopefully Justin Herbert doesn't have a Philip Rivers type career. But if he does, I mean, at least from a fantasy perspective, Philip Rivers was always hanging around that top 13 in the leagues. Maybe that's
always right around there.
Yeah. I don't think he ever had a top 10 fantasy finish, though.
Always good. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, both going in a very similar draft range. You're drafting today. Who are you selecting? I don't know if our debate or conversations of it helped or not, but hopefully it did. If you have any other questions, fantasy related or whatnot, maybe even just life related, leave them in the comments below. Leave a like on this video, helps the channel, helps us. Subscribe to the channel, helps us a little bit more. And of course, from what really help us is if you stay safe, happy, and healthy, because we want to see you next time.